Russia has sparked alarm in Ukraine and throughout the international community in recent days by massing its armed forces close to the Ukrainian border. The military buildup has raised fears of a possible Russian offensive that could push beyond the areas of eastern Ukraine currently under Kremlin control and lead to a dramatic escalation in the simmering 7-year conflict between the two countries. Ukraine's Western partners have responded to the threat by voicing their support for Ukrainian sovereignty and calling on Russia to end its aggressive actions. As details of Russia's troop movements emerged, the U.S. European Command raised its alert status to the highest level. Some military observers believe the Kremlin may be engaged in strategic posturing in order to intimidate Zelenskyy and test the resolve of the new Biden administration. However, a number of factors point to the possibility of a looming Russian offensive. John Herbst said, "Moscow is back to playing brinkmanship in Ukraine. Over the past weeks, it has built up military forces in northern Crimea and along Ukraine's eastern border." Russian officials and senior media figures have spread the lies that Kiev is preparing a military offensive and shelling civilians in occupied eastern Ukraine. All of this could be preparation for a new Kremlin offensive. The aim might be to seize Mariupol, or the canal in Kherson Oblast taking water from the Dnipro River to Crimea, or Russia may seek to introduce peacekeepers into the so-called Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republics. Alternatively, it might simply be an effort to force concessions from President Zelenskyy and test U.S. President Joe Biden. If that is the case, Biden has passed the test. Washington bombarded Kiev with telephone calls last week, with calls coming from Biden himself, NSC advisor Sullivan, Secretary of State Blinken, Secretary of Defense Austin, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Milley, all offering support for Ukraine as it faces this latest provocation. To ensure that the Kremlin got the message, Milley also called Moscow. All of this reduces the odds that Moscow will strike. But the feckless response from Berlin and Paris, calling on both Russia and Ukraine to avoid provocative steps, does the opposite. It is now time for Washington to provide additional leadership by announcing conditional sanctions that would be levied on Russia if it escalates in Ukraine. The sanctions could be placed on a major bank such as Bank, but certainly on Nord Stream 2.